All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, we are back live. It is 6 a.m. in the morning for me in Sydney, 7 p.m. in the evening for Conn in UK. Look, I've got to set my time. As I said to everyone, from now on, you're going to see me more during this time, which is when all my viewers are on. So first of all, to everyone that's logged on and who's going to log on down the track, welcome to another show. First of all, shout out to Deep State, who is here from the get-go. Yusuf as well, Ritam, Arman Ali, Lucas. Thank you guys for being here. And Conn, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming along, man. I know it was a bit of a late notice, but I'm glad you guys, some of you guys, man, you have the most craziest sleeping pattern. It was funny, guys. I'll just let you know a very funny story. I reached out to Conn yesterday and he was like, yeah, definitely he's coming. And then I reached out to him today and he was like, oh, is it today? The sleeping pattern for these guys are off the charts. Conn, when do you generally go to bed, man, at nighttime? Or do you not even, or do you just go to bed in the morning?
No, normally the sleeping pattern's all right. It's not too bad, but obviously because of lockdown here and we're not allowed to go out and the work stuff and all that, you have to stay at home for now. It's just, it messes with you. Do you know when you haven't got like anything to do? There's no schedule. Exactly. So you just kind of sleep when you need to. Do you know what I mean?
I completely understand, man. Lockdown's crazy. All right, let's get straight into this. Conn, we've got quite a few things to talk about, quite a few interesting topics to talk about. First of all, the CBs that we've been linked with, I want to talk about that, and then I want to talk about the CBs that we already have, and then get your opinion whether it's absolutely necessary to get one of these big shot CBs in order to challenge for the title. So the CBs that we're linked with, as you know, Conn, we've been heavily linked with David Alaba, who's seems like he's got one foot in the door at Real Madrid. We've got David Alaba. We've got links with Nicolas Sule. We've got links with now Varane. Upamecano has been strongly linked for a very, very long time. First of all, these links, let's talk about them. I mean, which one do you fancy the most? And then secondly, I mean, looking at the CVs that we already have, is it that necessary at the moment to get a profile like this coming into our team?
From all the ones we've been linked with, and there's been a few, especially over the last couple of weeks, I do like Upamecano. I'm a big fan of Upamecano. I do like him. Yeah. Varane, yeah, I like Varane too. I did like Alaba until I saw the wage demands, and that went out the window. Who else has there been? There hasn't been any links to like Koundé's or that kind of player. Yeah. Who else has there been? I'm trying to think.
Nicolas Sule recently.
Yeah. See, my issue with Sule is Bayern are clearly looking to get rid, and they want to get Upamecano as a replacement. So it kind of reminds you of the Giroud and Aubameyang thing. When Arsenal sold Giroud to get Aubameyang, I don't want to be doing that again because I think, I don't know, Sule's he's decent but too injury prone. Yeah, and
go on, bro.
Yeah, he's just personally not for me. Sule.
No, for sure. As I said, looking at the CBs that we have right now, Conn, we've got Thiago Silva that's probably going to be, getting a contract extension for 2 more seasons. Well, he's already here this season. He's going to most likely be for next season, and there could be another one after that. And then we've got Azpilicueta, who I feel who's got the similar sort of like that endurance level as Thiago Silva. And obviously we've got Reece James, who's sort of, probably going to be long-term taking over that position. I mean, that's if we play 3 at the back. Let's just assume that we continue with 3 at the back. Obviously, if we go back to, 2 centre backs and, the traditional 4 at the back, it becomes even more tighter. Then we've got Zuma, who's been touted as, someone who's a long-term sort of CB for us. And then you've also got in the mix Marc Guehi, who's been doing well, Ethan Ampadu, who's been doing well. What's your thoughts about the CBs that we already have? And is it really necessary to get a CB of that caliber that we've been linked with?
Yeah, I think we do need a centre back of that caliber for sure. I think we've got a lot of good centre backs, like okay centre backs, but not really good centre backs. I think when you saw Thiago Silva come in, I know he's world class, but you could just see the levels there. And every single centre back Chelsea have, there's an issue with in some aspect to their game. Sumas is his ball playing, Rudiger is his mental lapses, Christensen's his physicality. That we need, I don't know, a person who can kind of fit all of them boxes, even if they're not. That's why I like Tomori so much, actually, because I felt like out of the ones we had, I felt like he was the most well-rounded in terms of aerial duels, ball playing ability, physicality, pace. So I don't know. I feel like we do need it, and it's crazy because I don't think Tuchel likes Suma. I think we can kind of see that a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like that could be the case as well, Con. That I don't know if he really fancies Zuma because obviously Rudiger has been playing a lot more. Do you feel? I mean, we need to get rid of some of these players before we can start entertaining getting some more new ones. I mean, who, from your perspective, seems to be on the out? Because Andres Christensen seems like he's in favor again because when Silva's not playing, he's probably should be the one playing in the middle of the three CBs. Although it was strange to see Zuma play in that middle against Barnsley. Honestly, I think it should be Christensen, and Christensen has been playing that in the league games. Who do you think Tuchel's probably thinking that needs to leave before they can get some more new ones?
I think it's Christensen and Zuma because one thing I've noticed about Rudiger is he's always played the left centre back.
Yeah.
When he's come in, that's where he's been playing. And then, so I think, obviously Tuchel likes Rudiger. That's no surprise there. He wanted him at PSG. I don't think a Zuma fits the profile of someone like a Tuchel. I like Zuma as well. I think he's very well suited for the Premier League.
Yeah.
Physical, strong, great in the air. I think he's really good, but it's just that ball playing aspect that really lets his game down. And I think to play in a Tuchel system, you need to be very comfortable on the ball. And Christensen as well. With Christensen, I like the player as well. It's another player I generally really like, but I just don't think it's going to work out here. I think we've known it for a bit of a while, to be honest, with Christensen. And I think maybe he'd be better off somewhere else, to be honest. So he can really get some game time and, break out a bit, because at one point he was this exciting youth product coming and starting. And then all of a sudden he's this centre-back hit and miss. One game he'll be fantastic, the other he's really inconsistent. So I think that they'll be the two that go first for me.
No, for sure. Here's a question for you, Conn. If we are to mount a title challenge from next season, what's a winning? Let's consider two formation. We'll go with the traditional four at the back, the two CBs. Who, in your opinion, is the combination of two CBs with the links that the CB links that we have, or with the current lot of CBs that we have? So you've got a plethora of choices. Who are the two centre backs that you think is going to be able to mount a title challenge in a 2 CB role and a 3 CB role?
I'll start with the three at the back first. I think it's a little bit easier. So obviously Thiago Silva playing in the centre, Reece James playing as the right centre back, and maybe Anupa Meccano. Quick, good ball player, more protected in the back three as well, because we've seen he's a bit mistake prone, isn't he?
Yeah.
So in the back three he's well protected, and in the back four, two centre backs. Thiago Silva has to be in there still. I would have really liked Alaba, to be honest.
That's my choice, bro. That's my choice. Left CB, Alaba. Wow.
Yeah, I think that would have been the choice, but that's just so unrealistic right now, isn't it? 400k a week. So I'd probably go with Meccano again, because I see Varane staying at Madrid, to be honest.
there's some talks about Upamecano being in Bayern Munich, and then although Chelsea's in the race, I feel like some of these boys, in German Bundesliga, they do look up to Bayern Munich a lot. Like they think that that's the final destination for them. Like they've made it. Let's say, for argument's sake, you've already said that Alaba is probably not realistic with his wage. Upamecano is not, let's say another one realistic if he goes to Bayern Munich. Who's your third choice? Would you even entertain anyone like Marc Guehi or Ethan Ampadu?
To be honest, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on Guy. How you pronounce his name? Guehi. I'm not sure.
Guehi. Just say whatever you want, bro.
But two players I'm massively fond of, and if it was my choice, would be either Koundé or Marquinhos.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I would love Marquinhos. And if Conte is someone we might sell, I think we should entertain him and Marquinhos swap deal, to be honest.
No, for sure. I've been so fond of Marquinhos. There's been some little bit of rumours that have been coming out recently since Tuchel's come in that Marquinhos could be an opportunity. And for me, man, that got me so gassed. I was thinking he could play even in the double sixes role as well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about Declan Rice. It can be Marquinhos and whoever else, Kante or Marquinhos and Kovacic. Marquinhos, as I said, whoever else. And then he can also play in the back three. Commentary from Aspi, Thiago, Upamecano. Obviously, Conn said that Reece James, but yeah, Aspi could be one of those ones who can sort of mix it up as well. Just a few more comments here from Itzham. Guehi will fix the issue. We need to trust him. As Conn said, it's not someone that, to be honest, Conn as well, I haven't really followed Marc Guehi. I've just seen some compilation of Guehi. He looks like a player that can really do well. But I was talking to the boys yesterday, I believe, or day before yesterday, with Matisse and Yunus, and I was saying that I think it would be wise and humble, from a fan's point of view, to think that he probably needs to go on a Premier League loan after this. I think his progress has been good. He's gone to Swansea in the Championship. He's getting a very good loan deal there, and he's playing well. He's probably going to be player of the season over there. And if he helps Swansea to come to the Premier League, probably needs to. It'd be great if he just continues the loan over there and comes across some of the best in the Premier League before he gets his opportunity with Chelsea. Is that how you sort of look at it as well, or do you feel like, this guy just needs to be straight into the Chelsea team?
No, I agree. I think if Swansea come up, he stays there for another season. If not, maybe if Brighton or Fulham are still up, because they're teams that like to play out from the back, and teams he will start in as well. Presumably, anyway. Brighton could be a tricky one because their two centre halves are actually pretty decent. But yeah, for me, I think he needs a Premier League loan, and it's not taking away that saying like he's a bad player or anything. It's just we don't want to throw in like a guy who's just come from the Championship straight into the first team straight away. Just so much pressure and the expectation from him. We've seen it as well. I know you're probably going to touch upon it later in the stream, but we've seen it with other players like a Pulisic, where he has a bit of bad form and bang, everyone's onto him. And you don't want that for Guy. So you want him to have that year to adapt in the Prem before he comes to Chelsea.
No, 100%. Salman Zaki, he has commented really nicely. The obsession youth won't win the league. Look at City. If you are good enough, you play. I mean, Salman, I think you're probably referring to Foden. The thing about Foden is he's been in the setup for a really long time, and finally we're seeing the fruits of it. I think that's the thing. You've got to be in the setup. Someone like Marc Guehi, sure, if he comes back to Chelsea, I don't think he will start. But if he's patient enough to just stick around in the team, and whatever little opportunity he gets and he makes the best out of it, eventually he'll probably get his chance. But it could also turn out to be something like Tomori's situation, where some of these centre backs, they want minutes, and then when you don't get minutes, you get loaned out. And with Tomori, honestly, I don't think we're going to see him back because he's got that buy option, and I'm pretty sure Milan, the way they structured this deal, if he does well over there, they're going to buy him. They're not going to simply just develop him for us so that we can take him back. And Is that sort of, just to quickly wrap up this CV situation, is that sort of how you feel as well, Con, that Tomori, if he does well in Milan, which for the first couple of games he's been doing pretty good, do you feel like this is how Milan has structured it, that if he does well, and that's why there's this buy option, that they'll probably buy him?
I think they buy him regardless of how he does, to be honest, because of his age, England player as well. I think even if he was struggling, I think for that fee, somewhere around 25 million, I think that's so stupid from Chelsea. I'm sorry, but I think that's one of the dumbest things they've done in a while.
Yeah.
So I don't see Tomori coming back. And it's a shame because I love Vic so much, but I hope he smashes it in Milan.
No, 100%, man. I hope he does as well. How awesome would it be? I think they're still top of the league over there, so it'd be great for him to, win the league over there, and then, become one of the, you never know, possibly become a legend in AC Milan, and that's no small feat at all. There's some amazing defenders in AC Milan. All right, let's now talk about the next topic. We'll get to the Pulisic situation. I know that's your hottest, particular player that you want to talk about. We will get to that. We're going to leave that for the live chat down the track. But I want to talk about first Kai Havertz, Con. Kai Havertz, there wasn't any talk about Kai Havertz before the Barnsley game as to where he was. None of the journalists ever seemed to ask proper questions in press conferences. So everyone was a little bit sort of confused as to what's going on. But finally, we heard some news from Tuchel in regards to Kai Havertz saying that he has been injured. He's probably not going to make the Newcastle game. I just want to ask you, Con, this guy, I mean, along with the other players that we're going to talk about, he's really struggled. He sort of came into the frame and he seemed like he was slowly coming into it under Frank Lampard. And then he went through a particular phase where he was doing half decent. And then obviously the whole virus, and since the virus, he simply hasn't looked good at all. And that sort of coincided with our bad form during Frank Lampard era. And, Tuchel's taken over and seems like once again, he's sort of on and off the side, injured, little niggly injuries, and not absolutely fitting into the system as to where he probably needs to play in the team. From your perspective, I mean, what's your message, I suppose? Like, do we stay patient as possible? Because obviously we've seen his quality with Bayer Leverkusen and what he can do. I feel like he wants to be the central focal point. Like, he wants to touch the ball a lot. He wants to be the playmaker, wants to be the attacker, much like what he did at Bayer Leverkusen. What do you think is the defined position for him at Chelsea? And obviously, us being patient as well.
I think with when it comes to Kai, I think first understanding what kind of player he is. I think with the fee and like the assists, the goals people see, they kind of feel like he's going to be like Eden Hazard, like a guy who can just take on 3 or 4 people. No, that's not Havertz at all. His best is when he's making the movements off the ball. And I think it was Nini who did a video about his runs off the ball against Tottenham. And he was just constantly ignored. So he will come very good when this team starts to click and attack. That's when we'll see the best Kai Havertz. So I think some of it's down to him, confidence, new country. Because bear in mind, this is COVID as well. He's 21 in a new country on his own, no family. I don't think people really take in the human factor as well when it comes to football. Yeah. So I think that's playing a part on him. But also, the team needs to click and attack for Kai to really start showing what he can do. And he needs to be found more. And it's just, in general, the team needs to just connect and start being braver in attack, because right now we're a bit too passive. And sorry, what was the follow-up question to that?
Yeah, like I suppose his best role in the team, where you picture him sort of getting the best out of Kai Havertz.
10, whether it's one of them Y10s or central, I think 10 for Kai, because you don't really want a player of his quality doing too much defensive work. And I think 10 is, as many people would quote it, a very privileged position, because you can just play and do your thing with not too much responsibility for what's going on behind you. So I think 10 for him for sure.
No, for sure. A couple of comments here. I just want to quickly read it out. Charlie Robbins and Kai should have a free role. I think that's more or less number 10 role. And also pre-10 or false 9. I suppose, so let's say for argument's sake, I mean, obviously at the moment we're playing 3 at the back, and the way we sort of play is double sixes, and then sometimes we play with the 2 strikers and someone behind as a number 10 behind, or sometimes we play with 2 sort of 10s and a striker. Do you sort of at times see him play either one of those roles? I suppose, let's say if it's, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz up front with a Mason Mount behind or a Ziyech behind, or even, let's say, Timo Werner up front with a Mason Mount and Kai Havertz just behind them. Is that sort of how you picture it happening?
Yeah, no, that's how I see it kind of happen, to be honest. Yeah.
Fair play. And obviously you probably expect him to sort of, drop deep in midfield, help link up, and then sometimes move forward as a striker. Do you want to see him more up in the box or more in midfield?
I want to see him near and around the box because I think that's where he's best, to be honest.
No, fair play, man. Fair play. All right, look, Kai Havertz, hopefully he comes back soon. Seems like there's some niggling injury issues. He's not going to be around for the Newcastle game, but hopefully he's there for the Southampton game. This player, we've got to admit that he's going to be, once he comes good, he's going to be such a great player for us, and there's no doubting that. All right, bro, let's now talk about Christian Pulisic. Man, I've got to be honest with you, bro. I know he's been injury sort of plagued in recent times. Yesterday probably we faced one of the most toughest teams under Thomas Tuchel, which is funny. It's Barnsley. But, man, I really expected a lot more from Ziyech and Pulisic. I thought these 2 players will really take the game with the scruff of their neck. But we'll talk about Ziyech down the track. But Pulisic, honestly, I don't recall any special moments from that match, if I look back against Barnsley, that he's done anything. And to be honest, maybe for the past few games, I really don't. The last thing I ever remember was that goal against Leeds, how Timo Werner burst through and squared the ball, and Pulisic scored. But besides that, it's been really tough for Pulisic in recent times. What do you reckon has been the biggest issue lately?
This shows you how much of a fanboy I am of Pulisic. Against Barnsley, he drove into the middle. He played it through to Cho. Cho crossed it in, and he just couldn't get a good connection. So that was a bright thing he did in that game.
You're probably the only one that remembers that.
Yeah, probably. But I think people need to remember as well, Tuchel left him out the squad the other day for family issues. We don't know what that was about. I think people just suddenly forgot that. The pitch was horrendous. And I think you could kind of tell it was really hard for us to get any sort of, good possession because we couldn't keep the ball on the ground too often. But fair play to Barnsley, though. They really came out. They gave us a fight. They made it a scrap, which they needed to do. But I feel for Pulisic so much because not long ago, everybody was saying he was our best attacker. And now people are saying that we should be selling him. That's so stupid. I'm all for opinions, right? But how you can go from best attacker to selling, that's one extreme to the other, right? If it was somewhere like Pulisic's our best attacker, he's not our best attacker, this guy's, that's fair enough. But to say we should sell him, that's
massive extreme.
Yeah, it's just one extreme to the other, and that's all we ever get in this fan base is 2 extremes. I've done it myself as well. That's the thing with Hudson-Odoi. I remember with the contract situation, right? I really hated the guy, not for his footballing ability, and I never really gave him a fair chance. And ever since that, and I've seen the progression under Cho, I've always been more lenient now to give that players a bit more time because I've learned my lesson. And I think some people are just so, egos. That's what I say it is, egos, where they just don't want to be proven wrong. So they'll be like, oh no, he's good, he's bad, he's good. It's just one of those. And it's pathetic. Honestly, it's pathetic. And I don't think anyone at Chelsea would even be thinking about selling Pulisic. I don't, because it would be such a mistake. And obviously he's had a injury-riddled season as well. I don't think people should forget that. And yeah, this season's been weird. I think that that's the biggest thing right now. The season's been weird. And we've had a change of manager mid-season. Pulisic still nursing his way back into full fitness. And it's not always physical as well when it comes to injuries, right? There's a mental side to that too.
Mm.
And for Pulisic, obviously that's going to be on his mind because he'll be like, I don't want to get injured again. Maybe I don't want to overexert myself. Maybe I don't want to take this guy on. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I don't want to put full force in this shot. Like stuff like that will be on his mind because how often his muscles, like hamstring, etc., goes. So I don't know. I think with Pulisic, it just takes time. It does, and yeah.
No,
I could go on all day about this. I'm sorry.
No, we're going to go deeper into this Pulisic thing because, look, completely hear what you're saying, man. I understand. There's that human element that I think the fan base forgets that. Even I fall into the trap sometimes. At the end of the day, these are not just footballers. They're human beings, and every injury that sort of happens to them, it does impact not just their body but mentally as well. Just a quick commentary from Jeff G. I watched the game twice, as usually do. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. The fans make it sound like he's so bad. WTF. 100% agree. Look, he wasn't, as Conn said, and I have seen this in the timeline in Twitter already, where a few people posting out that sell him, let's get Grealish. And it's crazy. We've seen what Pulisic is capable of, off the back of last season, right at the end. The kind of destruction that Pulisic created helped us massively, along with Giroud and Willian, I'd say, to an extent as well, to get us to top 4. So we know he's got the quality. We know he's got the quality. It's just a matter of being patient, and it will come along again. Here's the thing, though, Con. Here's my small little criticism, and I've seen Nini's video, and I know Nini's a bit critical at times, and I don't always pay attention to everything that he says, but this particular thing that he said about Pulisic, I could resonate a little bit. And I don't know if this has sort of crept up on Pulisic's game recently, or it's something that he's always had. I think it might be just something that has crept up recently, hopefully. Con, I just see him sometimes when he dribbles, and he's got the capability of beating players and whatnot. That's fantastic, but he doesn't look up. He doesn't look up enough to see the key passes. Like, he dribbles, there's movements, and there's always an opportunity to make that key pass straight away. But either he waits too long, or either he passes too late. I don't know what it is. There was a moment not that long ago with Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham where Pulisic drove straight through the middle, and he had Tammy Abraham on one side, he had Timo Werner on the other side. Ended up passing to Timo Werner, which was a bit late. Still, Timo should have finished it, but I feel like if it was early pass, he would have really connected well. Do you feel Pulisic, is that due to confidence in recent times, or do you feel like that's something that he can improve, that when he dribbles, he just needs to lift his head up and just look for those key passes a little bit quicker, much like what Ziyech does, where he looks for the quicker passes much earlier?
To be honest, yeah, I think sometimes he does over dribble, but I think that's more of a Chelsea problem right now than a Pulisic problem right now, with finding these passes in and around the box. And Tuchel said it himself, that's what we need to work on, that final pass and our conversion. So I'm not seeing any of our attackers really playing the passes they should be playing. And if you watch the past 3 or 4 games, I can guarantee every single attacker played that day, you can point out at least 5 passes they should have made but didn't. Yeah. And so I don't think it's just a Pulisic problem right now. Yes, he does dribble a lot, and maybe he does need to just play it simple sometimes. But if you're trying to get confidence back, I know you should go back to basics and play simple, but Pulisic's not like that. Like, I spoke to his dad, and Pulisic's mentality is top, and he wants to change the game. He's got that desire, and he's trying. I think he's just over trying, like we've seen with Timo in earlier parts of this season. He's just overdoing it at times because he just really wants to get back in form so bad. So, I can understand the critic of that, and it's a fair one. It's a fair criticism of Pulisic, but also at the same time, don't be saying this player had a very good game when they debatably had the same amount of passes not played that game that should have been played as Pulisic. Just because Pulisic dribbles and is more noticeable to the eye, it doesn't mean, I don't know, a Mason Mount, Kai Havertz or a Timo Werner didn't play passes they should have done. Do you know what I mean? Just because dribbling and passing backwards, which one are you going to remember more? The dribbling, of course.
The dribble, yeah. Absolutely right, man. Now that's well said. Look, the way Tuchel's kind of playing at the moment, which is more his wing backs are really the wingers, and his wingers are really the inside forwards. Do you feel that kind of helps or hinders Pulisic being sort of more inside forward player as opposed to hugging the touchline? I feel like I'll go back to the game where he absolutely destroyed Liverpool when he came off the bench, and he was more sort of hugging the touchline. But also there was a game against City under Frank Lampard where we were playing more counter-attacking style, more sort of sitting back, and he was playing more of an inside forward. Which particular position? And look, Thomas Tuchel is someone who's worked with Pulisic so much previously, when Pulisic was younger, so he knows about Pulisic. Where do you feel, is probably the best way to get the most out of Pulisic?
I think you play him on the left, and to be honest, I think he can play narrow, he can play out wide. I think he can do both, and he does it very well when he's played on the left. Obviously, Odoi is very good on the left as well, so you're gonna have to pick one or the other. But I'd say Cho's probably better on the right than Pulisic is. So maybe play Cho on the right and Pulisic on the left, and give him not entirely free license, because obviously Tuchel has things in attack that he likes to do, but give him the license to do what he wants in the areas. And it just makes me think back to the interview Tuchel had with Rio Ferdinand when he's saying he likes giving players that area to express themselves, but just do it in the right areas. And I think when Pulisic gets going again, he gets like a good run in the side. I think when the team starts clicking a bit more, I think everyone's going to forget about these conversations we're having now, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't, honestly, Con, we all know, man, we all know how gassed the timeline was that end of last season when Pulisic was burning it up and everyone was like Eden Hazard-esque, Hazard regen, probably even better than Hazard, all sorts of stuff. And this season, it's been tough. It's been a funny season for a lot of players. Players like Ziyech, and we're going to touch on Ziyech very soon, even they're getting, thrown into the mud, like as if they've never played in the Champions League for Ajax and won them the game single-handedly against the likes of Real Madrid and so on and so forth. It is funny that people forget about these sort of players, how good they are, and it could just be circumstantial at the moment. And we just need to be patient, and they are going to come good for sure. Some comments here, Con speaking facts, 100%. He always does, my man. This is what I like about Con. Jeff G, man, thank you for putting up some really, really amazing comments, Jeff. Pulisic will be back to great form. Can't wait for a decent pitch and support from the left back. Emerson was horrid yesterday. By the way, this is a good point, Con. How important is it from the left side to get some support? Because on the right side, when it's at the moment, obviously, Callum Hudson-Odoi is playing as a right wing back, which has been absolute revelation. And he's given massive support to Mason Mount and the strikers and the midfield and so on and so forth. Pulisic sometimes seems like he's the only one who's got to do all the work on the left side. I don't think he's always getting that support. Definitely not getting the support for Alonso. In fact, Alonso's probably getting the support from Pulisic because recently he got that assist with that Alonso goal. But Chilwell, I feel like, doesn't really help out Pulisic either. How much of that has been an impact as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people now are starting to see why Chilwell wasn't universally loved when he was linked to Chelsea. I still think he's all right. If you could say go back in time and get Tagliafico, would I? Probably. But I still think Chilwell's good enough to do the job for Chelsea, and he's still young, so he's got a lot of room to improve. But yeah, when you look at that right side, like you got Odoi, sometimes you got James behind him, even Azpilicueta, because one thing with Azpi is he does try passing forward quite a lot. And I don't know, with Chilwell, it seems a lot of backwards, sideways, and with Alonso, kind of the same. So Pulisic, that brings me back to my point I made before about him trying to like grab the game by the scruff of the neck and doing things himself. Because imagine if you have like Alonso behind you, you're going to be thinking, maybe I want to try and make something happen. And obviously, with the amount of passes we play in games, players get frustrated as well. And Pulisic's probably getting sick and tired of the ball being played backwards all the time. So the guy just wants to go forward.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I mean, it must be so frustrating for him to see someone like Alonso who doesn't have the pace. And just going back to the Azpilicueta, it's so true, man. Azpilicueta actually becomes an overlapping right CB. He has allowed for Calvert-Lewin, who's a wing back, sort of come in, allowing Azpilicueta to really overload the right side with himself, Mason Mount, Kovacic at times. And we saw that goal against Burnley, where Aspi overlapped and Calvert-Lewin put him through. So, yeah, you're right, man. I mean, Pulisic sometimes just has too much to do on that left side all by himself because he just doesn't have that pacey sort of left back. And this is where I feel like Chilwell, he really needs to step up the game. I mean, he was a big money signing as a left back, and he really needs to step that game up. Quick shout out to Amara Jiwa, this guy, man. He's such a supporter of the channel. Great show. You two are not leaving anything out. The show must go on. Look, I'm not sure about if the show must go on. We'll probably go for maybe another max 20 minutes, but I do appreciate that comment 100%. Con, we've pretty much covered Pulisic. I think the bottom line is that he's a fantastic player and there's no need to get rid of him. It's crazy talks to get rid of him. Let's now talk about Hakim Ziyech. Just like how Pulisic is so dear to you, bro, Hakim Ziyech is so dear to me, man. I'm so biased about this player, man. I remember seeing, and people know this, I remember seeing that video of him when he was signed and they showed the clip of his mother giving that message. Honestly, I teared up because for me, those kind of things, they matter to me, man, the emotional factor. And from that day, I was like, this guy is going to be such a success, not just in football, in life, because when he sees his mother, mother's message and he's shedding tears, you can see the burning desire that this guy, there's a lot more than football. Like, he's doing this for a lot of things, for his family, for everyone. And I love his confidence. I love his cockiness. Even recently, he came out with a quote saying, no one's seen the real Hakim Ziyech as yet. It will come. He's coming soon. I must say, though, in recent times, it's been quite frustrating. I feel like he's not been in the game at times when, either when Frank has used him before he got sacked, and even when Tuchel has used him, obviously against Barnsley, he tried. It looked like he was really trying hard. Probably at times felt like he was trying too hard and not just calming down. A lot of people trying to, already playing this player out, like they're just disregarding him already and saying that, he's not good enough for the Premier League and so on and so forth. Do you feel like he's in the same caliber as well, Con, in the sense that don't disregard this player? This guy is good. Because I remember, Con, I was with you, one of the very early ones in the timeline where people were going for Sancho and, there was a Twitter debate and war. Everyone's gone for Sancho, and they were downplaying Ziyech. I was with you. I remember one of the very first few ones saying, "No, we need Ziyech. 100% we need Ziyech." Do you feel he's the same sort of player, that sort of Pulisic caliber-ish sort of player, in the sense that he's got the X factor to change the game and we just need to be very, very patient with him?
Yeah, Hakim Ziyech. I think that's the correct pronunciation of his name.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the thing is, I just want to remember. Do you remember that picture that came out with Pulisic and Ziyech?
Yeah. Holding. Yeah. I saw you tweet that.
Yeah. Did you remember the reaction to that photo? Yeah. Did you remember the reaction to that? Everybody, not one person was saying, "Oh, these two are not good enough for Chelsea," or like everyone was like, "I can't wait, my wingers. Chelsea could be unstoppable." I think, and that was like 2-3 months ago, so it's not that long ago, really. So that just proves a point about. I think people. Just like it's the same as Pulisic, it's the same, and it's because I think Ziyech had a really poor performance against Barnsley. I think he was giving the ball away a lot, but the team performance was so bad as well. I can't think of more than 3 players who I'd say were all right, and I'm just saying all right. I'd say Kepa was all right, Tammy was all right, and Billy. And I really struggled to name anyone after that. I think Reece maybe came on and gave us a bit more.
Yeah,
but it was just overall a horrible performance from the team. And obviously, it's just maybe it's because Ziyech isn't like a traditional winger. He's a bit unorthodox. And the thing is, I remember having a European lads, massive Ajax fan, on one of my early podcasts when we got Ziyech. And he said when he first came to Ajax, fans hated him because he kept giving the ball away. He was frustrating the fans. People were like, "Oh, this guy doesn't care." So can you see the similarities building from how Ajax fans felt then, and obviously Tuchel's just come in. I think Ziyech is more of a system player than Pulisic is. I think Pulisic can play under more managers, under more roles. I think Ziyech, you have to kind of work him in. I don't think you can just ask him to just play a role when he can do it. I think you have to kind of make a role for him. But yeah, he has the X factor. He can score outrageous goals. He can get outrageous assists. He's got a bit of skill in him as well. And that's one thing I wish I could see a bit more from him, is taking players on, because he can do it. I don't think people just think he's like a cross merchant. I've seen that all the time and it infuriates me. It really does. He's got a bit of sauce, he has. And I think it was against, was it Burnley or Sheffield the first time?
I think it was Sheffield. I know which one you're talking about, how he just put nutmeg the player. Sheffield. Yeah. It was Lundstrom. Yeah.
And people forgetting he's got a bit of trickery. I think he's just struggling right now, just like the attack. If you think about it, if you really deep it, Werner has 4 goals. I think Mason Mount has 3 goals. I think Hudson-Odoi has 2. Pulisic has 1. I think Tammy is our highest scorer so far, isn't he? With like 9 goals.
Yeah.
I think Giroud has like 7. So none of our attackers are actually really firing this season.
No.
So I think that really needs to be taken into consideration. That it's like, I think that was Frank's biggest issue as well. He couldn't get that attack to work for him. Like he kind of sort of done the defense, and then we were just so flat. And then he tried to get us playing, I don't know, more elaborate or more high intense, whatever you want to call it. And we were struggling defensively again, like we saw against like Leicester and all that. Yeah. So I think that's Tuchel's biggest problem right now, is getting Chelsea's attack going. And when it does, boy, people, like I said last night, people need to start deleting tweets, because I'm coming for that. But absolutely, Ziyech he's a saucy player, and he's very dislikable as well, I'd say. I think out of all the players in Chelsea, he could be one that becomes very dislikable just because his demeanour. He's like, kind of like Kai Havertz on the pitch, like how he looks. So I can't find the word on top of my head.
How he carries sort of like that. Yeah, that sort of languid, sort of like feels like he's casual.
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of people's like, he's not trying, or he just wants to cross. Like, when we can start getting some like patterns clicking better in attack, and the players know what they're doing, Ziyech is going to be a dream, because he has the ability to pick out that crazy pass. He's got that vision to see that run. And he's a player that doesn't always need to pick his head up. He's one of them kind of KDB sort of players, but they got that aura. They know when that player is going to be there. And Ziyech's great at that. So people can say you want to sell Ziyech for Sancho, fairs, but is Sancho different from what we already got? Because if Pulisic's on form and Cho's on form, I don't see what Sancho adds to us. But if Ziyech's on form, he had something that Pulisic and Cho don't add. So, and for 32, 34 million, it hurts my head sometimes, Miz. I can't lie, it hurts my head.
Absolutely, bro. I've seen some propaganda coming back for Sancho again, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like we have so many wingers already. I mean, why do you want more? We've got Pulisic, Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi. Who else? Have I missed anyone? Timo Werner sometimes plays as an inside forward as well. I mean, possibly. Yeah, then you got someone like Tino Angerini in the wings as well, and he could possibly play as a 10. I mean, great if we can get Sancho, but I don't know. People think that he'll just come in and then he'll just perform straight away. I don't think so. I think he will also have problems.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but what happens if Sancho comes in? He has a bit of a good spell. He goes 2 months maybe without a goal, or he picks up an injury, puts him out for a while, he comes back to struggle. Do you know what I mean? The pattern would never end. See, that's what I'm saying, because right now, Dortmund haven't been great in the Bundesliga. And Sancho, surprisingly, has all right stats this season, but he hasn't been entirely great himself. Yeah. And it's just because Chelsea fans, when they see a link come out about any player, they like start hyperventilating. They see it and they're like, okay, I want this player I need him.
Yeah.
And it becomes like that, and it becomes infectious. Do you know what I mean? One person says it, 10 other people start saying it, and it starts becoming infectious. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and think, okay, a Sancho link, that's cool. But yeah, Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi. And we can't think with Hudson-Odoi, when he came back from his injury, he struggled.
Yeah.
But we gave him time, and look how he's doing now. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same for Pulisic. I think people just need to keep that same energy. I think people have their favourites, and when a player isn't their favourite or it rivals one of their favourites, like Hudson-Odoi, because there's a lot of Hudson-Odoi fans out there that don't like Pulisic just because they play in similar positions, which is sad because they both play for the same team. And then that creates a toxic atmosphere, do you know what I mean? Because you're creating a competition, but that doesn't need to happen. They both will play together. They can coexist, you know?
No, 100%, man. Just quickly, this is a really good comment. Frank Lampard made him a cross merchant. I know Conn's just mentioned that. I felt like that as well. Frank, at the end of his sort of tenure, sort of wanted Ziyech to play more crosses, which kind of took away his... There is so much more than crosses with Hakim Ziyech, honestly. So that's a little bit about that. The other thing that I wanted to say was on this topic where Conn was saying that this up and down in the fan base, every time, you know, there's a little bit of link and everyone gets on that bandwagon. Just remember, not that long ago, everyone wanted Callum Hudson-Odoi sold. Do a poll in the Twitter timeline right now about Callum Hudson-Odoi, and no one will want him to be sold because he's on the up, and Thomas Tuchel's made him, very, very good, and he's playing well. Pulisic last season, at the end of the season, do a poll back then, and if you wanted him to be sold, I'm telling you, you'll probably get less than 1%. It would be 99% that he has to stay. So with these caliber of players, just have a mindset as to these are not your, and I don't want to be disrespectful here, these are not your Alonso type of players or your Rudiger type of players that in average, they're not really that great. They may have that one or two odd really good games, but through a long season, they're not the greatest players. We've seen them, right? But players like Ziyech, Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, these guys, Kai Havertz, and even Timo Werner to a certain extent, these guys are good. They just go through patches of bad form. It's not that during those bad forms, you just put your hand up and go, sell him. Sell him and get me Sancho. Sell him and get me Haaland. Sell him and get me whoever else. You just need to calm down. Like, these up and downs in forms will happen. And every time this happens, if you want a player to be sold, then, good luck to Marina to keep buying all these players all the time. It just doesn't work that way. Conn, on the last topic now, before we wrap things up, and this has been, it's doing my head in, right? And I need someone, to come in and get a different perspective. That's why we have the name The Other Side of the Coin. And I want to know what the live chat also thinks about it as well. We've got 35 people on. There was at one stage, I think, close to 50. Please smash that like button if you're enjoying this particular stream. And obviously, Conn's very close to, I believe, 80,000 followers in Twitter. So I'm pretty sure all of you guys are probably following Conn. But just by any particular chance you're not, please go and follow him. The links are in the description right now. Conn, in regards to Tammy Abraham, right? This is our final topic. I know he scored the winning goal for us yesterday, and I'm so thankful. I'm very thankful about, not just thankful, I appreciate his attitude. I appreciate the hard work that he does. But Conn, for some reason, I don't know, man. My younger brother, who's an Arsenal fan, by the way, and he always has a go at me about this. He goes, I don't know why you're always complaining about Tammy Abraham. Arsenal would love to have a player like Tammy Abraham. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, man, you don't understand. He's got all the talent. Just stay patient with him. He's going to be a top Premier League striker, this and that. For me, Conn, man, something inside me, and I don't know what it is. I know he scores goals. He scored quite a few goals last season. Scored goals. He's our top goal scorer again this season. But something deep inside me just tells me that, I don't know, man, I can't believe that this guy will take us to win league titles down the track. And I think I feel like this because I feel like he doesn't decide the bigger games more often, like consistently. I feel like, in the month of March and upcoming the latter parts of February, we've got Atletico Madrid, we've got Man United, we've got Everton, we've got Liverpool. I feel like these are the games I want him to decide the match for us. I feel like if he is starting, I want him to score in these type of matches and win matches for us. And I feel like he doesn't do these ones often enough for me to believe that he is the striker that will lead us to titles down the track. What's your thoughts about the matter, man?
Tammy's an interesting one, to be honest. And I think if you had 100 people in this stream right now, I think most people would give different answers and opinions about Tammy. He divides opinion a lot. And yeah, it's an awkward one for me. I don't really know how I feel about Tammy, to be honest. Because like with Giroud, you kind of accept the age. And like he's probably going to be off at the end of the season. But for what we paid for him, he's been great for us. Timo Werner stat padded the hell out of the Bundesliga last season. And we know that this guy can bang goals because we've seen it on the international level as well. He does well for Germany too. So with Timo Werner, we're like, okay. And then with Tammy, because if you think about his career so far, granted the teams he's played for haven't been amazing, he has scored a lot of goals. I think he's been very prolific in most loan spells he's had. Like Bristol City, didn't he score like 26, 27 goals?
Heaps. Yeah.
Aston Villa, same. Yeah. So with Tammy, it's a weird one because some games you think, okay, Tammy, you start to really warm to him. And then some games you're like, Tammy, like the Tottenham one against the first time we played him this season. And to be honest, I'm open to just giving him a chance, to be honest, just for the fact that we got a new manager in and maybe crossing in Salah wasn't for him. He's not great at headering the ball. So,
Con, do you find that funny that someone of his height is not good at heading?
Well, he's good enough to clear it off the line yesterday. Thank God. But no, it's very strange, isn't it? When you see a striker that's 6'4", all you think they're going to be so good in the air. But he's better with his feet, and it's extremely rare to see. Like if Tammy was like 5'10", I think that'd suit him better, to be honest. How he plays, do you know what I mean? But no, I do like Tammy. But the thing is, what's going on with Tammy? Because we can talk about Tammy all day, but he still hasn't signed the contract yet. And I haven't heard anything about him signing a contract yet. So does he want to stay at Chelsea? Does he see his future at Chelsea? That I think, I don't know. I don't really see a lot about that, to be honest. And it concerns me a little because his contract ends out not this season, next season, right?
I think it might, next season. Yeah, end of next season.
So who knows? Maybe Tammy doesn't see himself here. Maybe he does. Like, I don't know. That's what I said with Tammy. It's just there's so much you could talk about. It's so weird with Tammy, but I kind of do. He's like my guilty pleasure in the Chelsea team, to be honest.
Absolutely, man. I mean, look, it's a very good point. Let's quickly talk a little bit about that. You're right. Not many people are bringing this up in recent times. There was that time, I think last season, they were talking about, he's not signing because, big time strikers are going to come to our team. Obviously, Timo Werner came in. I think, honestly, Con, I get the feeling he doesn't get the feel from the club that the club truly believes in him as well. I feel like what we've been sort of saying, and I know a lot of people have been commenting here as well so far in the live chat, is that it's what we've been saying, Con. We're a bit 50-50 about Tammy. Like, we'll throw him like a guilty pleasure. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we'll throw him when we feel like, we'll use him now and hopefully he does well. But we never, ever want to put him as he is the top striker. He starts every game. And I feel like Chelsea hierarchy, Chelsea board probably feels like that with Tammy, that they probably see him as he's a very good squad player to have. Like if the main striker is not there or he's injured or not in form, throw in Tammy, he'll do the job for a little bit. And then until the main striker sort of comes back into his senses, we'll put the main striker back in. And I think Tammy probably starts, I could be wrong here, and I feel Tammy probably is thinking that if I'm not sort of felt as I am the man of this football club, I don't want to sign a long-term contract with them because I'd rather go somewhere else. And as my younger brother was saying, which is strange, like he's an Arsenal fan, and there's actually other fans in different teams. They rate Tammy a lot, which is crazy, and they want to have him in their team. Would you ever be open to Tammy leaving and going to, let's say, another Premier League team?
As much as I like Tammy, probably, yeah. Because I would want what's best for him too. And I think you make a good point about him being the main guy, because if you put yourself in his shoes, Timo Werner at times has really struggled, but he still gets games. he's had a lot more minutes than Tammy this season. So if you're Tammy and you're thinking, I've scored more goals than this guy this season, why am I not playing? It's probably one of the reasons why he hasn't signed a new contract yet. So I feel for him in that aspect. But I think, call me a madman, but I think him and Timo could work very well together.
Yeah.
Because we saw we saw Kai and Tammy play very well together. Yeah. That sort of link up. And I think Timo and Tammy could have that link up too. But I don't know, because Chelsea have so much options. And The Athletic, I remember reading when the Haaland news came out, it said Chelsea want to bring in a top striker with Haaland being top of that list. So maybe if we don't get Haaland, we're going to get someone else anyway. And if that is the case, I don't see Tammy staying at all.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to go to an Arsenal, hopefully he didn't, because hopefully he has more, aspiration than that, because I wouldn't want to be challenging for Europa League. But if he wanted to leave, I could totally understand it, to be honest.
No, fair point. That was actually my next question. That if Haaland does come in, that and not just Haaland, and we'll get to if there's other options, but you're 100% certain, huh? Like if someone like Haaland comes in, then that's lights out for Tammy. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, fair point. By the way, just quickly before we wrap things up, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I hope each and every one of you guys have enjoyed it as well. It's been a pleasure having Conn live. Just quickly, I've started a bit of a propaganda recently, Conn, and I don't know if you're going to appreciate this one. So I've seen some people taking up on it. If we don't get Haaland, all right, I know Haaland's very, very top. What's your thoughts on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, man? This is one player I like so much, bro. Calvert-Lewin is very good.
Calvert-Lewin, he's been incredible from ever since, I think, mid-part last season, not just this season.
Since Ancelotti came in.
He is a striker built for the Prem, isn't he? If you just look at him, he's great in the air, he's physical, he's quick, like he's got that aggression. I can see why.
Dominant in the air, bro. Dominant in the air.
I think Calvert-Lewin... I don't know if I should be smiling at that, at the prospect of that. It's confusing. I'd wait until to see how this season finishes, but I wouldn't be 100% against it, to be honest. I think some people could call us a madman for that, but the guy scores goals and he's got good link up. I think when I was watching Tottenham, he was holding the ball up fantastically well.
This comment right here, Conn, by Thompson Jones, he's like a Kane. I know a lot of people are going to hate me and a lot of people are going to think I'm mad for saying this. I honestly think he could be the next Harry Kane. And if we don't get in on this, Calvert-Lewin, I'm telling you, in English football, he'll be the next big thing.
No, he's got all the attributes for sure. I don't think he's technically as good as Kane. I don't think he could. Maybe he could. How old is Calvert-Lewin?
He's young, bro. Let me just quickly check this up. I'm pretty sure he's young. Guys, let me know in the group chat how old is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm just going to quickly check this up. 23, bro.
He's 23. He's my age. Why don't I look like that? That's crazy for 23.
Bro,
for about 50, 60 mil, you could definitely tempt Everton for that sort of fee. And a guy who knows the league, he has good link up with like a Richarlison kind, who plays at times like an inside forward.
Do you reckon Tuchel will appreciate a player like him?
If he appreciates a Haaland type, then sure, because they're very similar. They're both big, powerful, quick strikers, but very physical. They're definitely the same sort of type of player. I think Haaland is a bit more special, but they've got certain similarities for sure. So if you'd want Haaland, then I can't see why he wouldn't want that kind of striker anyway.
No, for sure. King Mbani, he caught my eyes. I really like Calvert. And then he also said over here, Ziyech would love Calvert. Bro, oh my days. Ziyech crosses from, inverted crosses, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin drifting in, ghosting behind the defenders and smashing those headers in. No missing headers.
Miss, when you suggesting another striker, I thought he was going to hit me with like a Lautaro Martinez or something. I didn't think he was going to come through with Calvert-Lewin. That caught me off guard. So when I was smiling about it, I don't know if I should have been smiling about it or not.
I knew, because I know you like Lautaro Martinez. I did that thread a long time ago. You really like that about Lautaro Martinez. Look, man, obviously Lautaro Martinez is a really good player, but I don't know, man. Con, I think I am officially going to start this propaganda about Calvert-Lewin. I would love you to join in on this, because for me, I know a lot of people have said that Calvert-Lewin, he's going to cost an arm and a leg, obviously being English as well, the English tax. But I don't think Everton is his final destination. He's not going to be one of those players that's going to stay in Everton. I think he will move. It probably will be another Premier League move. I would hate to see him go to someone like, let's say, Man United, or honestly, I could see him go to Man United. I could see a player like him go to Man United, and he will absolutely rip things apart.
No, I agree. I think if you said today, if Calvert-Lewin was going to move to a Premier League club, what club would you say? You'd say United. I think that would be consensuous.
No.
That's an interesting one. I'll appreciate the propaganda for now. And I'm just going to sit back and watch, but it's definitely a prospect that is definitely I'm not against, for sure.
Nah, for sure, man. For sure. This is great. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings up to the end of the show. Final thought to take away, Calvert-Lewin propaganda. It begins right here in February. It's the 13th today. I know it's the 12th in UK. So let's get this started. I know Haaland is the choice, but if Haaland doesn't happen, let's get the bank rolling for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because I would love to see him at Chelsea, honestly. But yeah, guys, hope each and every one of you guys have enjoyed this particular show. I honestly have enjoyed it. What a way to start the Saturday morning with Conn. Conn, my man, any final words before we wrap things up?
No, it's a pleasure coming on. Thanks for having me. It's good to get the Pulisic thing off my chest, because it's been eating away at me today. It's why I've been staying off social, because it's just been getting it's been grinding my gears, as you could say. So, but I appreciate you having me on once again.
Brilliant. By the way, does Pulisic follow you yet?
Not today. Maybe one day, but
he needs to follow, bro. Everyone, can you just tag Pulisic, follow Conn? Everyone, just go out there in Twitter, tag Pulisic, and go, please follow Conn. Biggest fan. It's honestly, it's a disrespect at this point. All the hard work and grind that my man Conn has been doing for Pulisic, it's time Pulisic follows back. But yeah, man, it's great to have you, and I'm glad that you've been able to talk about Pulisic. I'm sure we're going to have you more in the show. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being in the show. Smash that like button, get that likes up, and I will see you guys again same time tomorrow. As I said, from now on, I'll be more sort of either where it'll be just a video upload or streams. It will be around the UK 7 p.m. time, so do look out for that. So guys, thank you so much. Have a very, very, very good day. Until next time, see ya.